We're going to start with very skinny sections. This is maybe 1/8 of an inch. We're going to go right in the center. I'm going to take my guide, I'm going to cut, stop at the second knuckle, stop at the second knuckle, go to one side, and then go to the other side. I'm going to check and make sure it's even. And then what I want to do is I want to continue to take small sections, so 1/8 of an inch at a time, and each time I'm going to make it longer, 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 so that the hair will naturally want to bevel underneath. So I'm going to take this section here, I'm going to match it on this side, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch of hair, I'm going to make sure she's completely wet. So if I need to, I'm going to add some water. Again, second section here, so I'm going to take this, I can see my guide right there. I'm going to see it and cut it just a little bit longer, so not on the guide, but just 1/8 of an inch longer, so that you can see a little bit of length gaining every single time. I'm going to do that over here. So again, see my guide, cut it a little longer. See my guide, just cut it a little longer. Take the next section. I'm going to proceed all the way up to the occipital bone, gradually adding length every time. And then when I get to the occipital bone, I'm going to keep it all at the same length, so I get a nice solid perimeter on the outside edge. So again, just clip these out of the way so they stay. You need water. Remember to keep it nice and wet. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to see my guide, my last guide, and I want to make it even another 1/8 of an inch longer. So I see my guide. I'm going to add a little bit of length. I'm going to see my guide, add a little bit of length, so just that little bit more, and it's going to start cupping underneath. Take the next 1/8 of a section, so like that. Clip it out of the way. Same thing on the other side. The skinnier the sections, the more you get a chance to sort of gain length every time, getting that hair to turn under. If I was using a razor, I could go in and scoop underneath, but I'm using scissors. So I want to be able to go in, just move this closer. And again, every time adding length. So I see my guide. I don't want to cut on my guide. I'm going to add another 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to add a little bit more length and a little bit more length. I'm going to take the next 1/8 of a section. And because I'm not taking that much off, I started with 1 inch that I took off, and then by the time I get to the occipital bone, because I'm adding 1/8 every time, really 8 skinny sections, and I should be back to my original outside length. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to smooth that hair out, get that nice and secure, make sure it's completely wet. Again, right in the center, start in the center so you're balanced. I'm going to go in 1/8 of an inch longer, 1/8 of an inch longer. This side, 1/8 of an inch longer. I want to check to make sure I'm even. Continue all the way up. So again, a little slice at a time. Go in. Put this here, and I want to make sure it's nice and even. So take time to adjust. You want to make sure it's matching on both sides, that you're working your way up evenly. So I'm going to go on this side as well. Take this out. Take 1/8 of an inch on this side. Add water. Comb that hair down smooth, matching on both sides. Down. I'm almost running out of hair. I want to still add a little bit of length. Still add just a little bit of length, and then one more section, and I should be able to keep everything the same length. So my outside perimeter is to really the last haircut that we did, which was the blunt haircut, 0 degrees, all at the same length. So this one is creating a bevel, creating that hair to tuck underneath naturally. Again, it only works if it's shoulder length or less. So again, Take the time, adjust your clips, make sure it's gonna stay. Make sure you're matching on both sides so you've got your nice clean part. Keep that hair wet. And when I reach the occipital bone, I should be almost out of hair here. So I wanna keep my length here and here. I've got just a little bit more to go. I'm gonna check. So my last little bit, I can probably take all of this down. So I'm gonna take from my balance point here, all of this hair, because there's not gonna be much to cut, and I really want to have that a nice solid line. I'm gonna take all of this, comb all of that down. I'm gonna add some water. So smoothing it right down, nice and neat. Holding it down, looking for where can I just clean that up. I'm gonna go over here, nice and solid, just clean it up on my last perimeter. I'm gonna do the same on this side. So my outside edge looks solid, but underneath it's shorter and then it gets longer, so it's gonna curl that hair underneath. So this hair is going to naturally, when it dries, it's going to curl underneath. As long as it's shoulder length or less. If it's on the back, way down here, it's not gonna be able to do it because it's gonna hit the back and it's gonna wanna bounce out. But shoulder length or less, this is how you detail a haircut to get it to turn under. If you were doing the sides, again, you could go like this. You could create 1 or 2 layers here, so I'm just gonna go underneath. Flip this hair out of the way. I really want to grab just a little bit of that underneath hair. I'm going to get her to sit up straight. So again, getting her to, we'll just adjust this. Sit up straight. I'm going to turn her to the side. So here's her side here. I'm going to take that little bit of hair as a guide. I want to tilt her head. So tilt it slightly over. Bring this down. Straight across. I'm going to take my next section, build it up just a little bit more, so the underneath is just slightly shorter. I'm going to cut my next section, and then I'm going to take my last section, and it should match right to what we left off in the back. So here, straight across, I'm going to make sure it's even, and then I'm going to continue on the other side, the same thing, and then I'm going to match in the front. So I'm going to continue on this side, 1, 2, and then 3, a little longer. Match here, like to make sure my perimeter is even. I'm gonna check right at the ears. So right here, I'm gonna pull it into the center and right in the front to check to make sure it's even. But again, that slight shortness underneath is going to get that hair to dry naturally and cup underneath that way. So it's gonna curve in instead of just being straight.